Yo guys, and welcome back to another ASMR Polar story time. So I just want to thank you all for all the love and support on the recent two stories which have been ASMR. I highly appreciate that from you, honestly. It means the world to me. And yeah, if you're new around here, please do not forget to subscribe. Come on, turn on bell notifications on. We got the best ASMR story times on YouTube, of course. So yeah, this is a pretty wild story time. I wasn't actually going to tell this story time. I was going to leave it for a milestone, but I thought, you know what? You guys have been showing me so much love and support. I'm going to tell it to you. So yeah, if you go ahead and enjoy, please do not forget to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, turn on all bell notifications, and yeah, let's get straight to this. And I hope that you enjoy. Okay, so this story time did actually end up taking place around a year ago now. It ended up happening at the skate park, so I can remember it was dark nights. So you know, I ended up finishing a day of school. It was a Friday, and I ended up going to the skate park. So around 5 p.m, it was starting to get dark at this point. So I was like, okay. So I get to the skate park, everything's good. A few of my mates are there. We literally just chilling, riding, practicing, and then we end up going outside. So I'm outside and I'm literally just choofing, I'm having a jolly good old time. And there's this one guy who I kind of knew, but I didn't actually know him. I just knew him for like a guy that just messed around with vapes and that. And he was sitting in the cafe. So I'm outside with my two friends, and he ends up coming out. He probably saw me go out, and he just wanted to come out and chill with us because he came on his own. So I was like, okay, this is fine. I actually knew his brother as well. His brother was a really safe guy. I didn't really know him too well until, this experience, what happened. So we ended up coming outside. We were just talking to him, the conversation started off with like, I literally started it. I was like, bro, what juice you got in that? That looks like a fire device, that does. And he's like, I've got some cotton candy. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, what MG you running? And he was like, I've just got 3 in at the moment, but, I'm normally on 12. And I'm like, 12? Are you crazy? Is that Nick Zutzel's sub-ohm? And he was like, that's sub-ohm. And I was like, geez, that's a killer, that is. And he was like, nah, I've just cut down from 16. And I was like, okay, is this guy lying? But yeah, so I was like, bro, can I have a go? Yeah, can I have a go? And he was like, yeah, just make sure, you twist the bottom in before you press it. And I was like, okay, because he had a mech mod. It wasn't like, a very good mech mod, I found it. It was just a normal one, and he was telling me. So I had to go on it. It was good. I was like, man, this is alright, this is. And he was like, yeah, I only got it the other day. And I was like, okay, where did you get it from? And he was like, there's this website online, they do really cheap ones, but I've had a little issue with it. Sometimes it jams and like sticks on. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then, yeah, he was basically going like, he accidentally put the coils in wrong and the fire up weird. And sometimes they like do a little spark. And I was like, okay, he's like, is he a big deal, or is he just some like small? And he's like, it's small, like nothing bad's happened with the device. It's cool. I use it all the time, every day. Since I've got it, he said it only started happening about a week ago, and he's only had it for like 3 weeks, nearly a month. And I was like, oh man, that's cool, that's cool. So I gave it him back, and he was like, what device you got, bro? And at the time, I think I had a Limitless. I don't know if it was a limit. I had something, but it was like a box, and he was like, oh man, can I have a try on it? I was like, yeah, sure, have a go on it. I've got 3 in as well. It's got some pancakes. And he was like, oh, that's cool. So I gave it him, and he was like, this is different. This is really good. Like, and he starts like looking at the mod, like flipping it over, looking in the batteries, things like that. So I'm like, okay, think nothing of it. He gives it me back, and yeah, everything was cool. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go inside now. I'm gonna ride. So when I was riding boxes and just chilling and flowing, when I get back up onto the top court, it was basically like, oh bro, would you want to swap devices? So I was like, oh man, I don't know. Basically, he was like, oh alright, let me know if you change your mind. And I was like, yeah, I will. So at this point, I'm flowing, I'm still riding, and I end up going in the cafe. So I'm in the cafe, I'm just eating some food now, and he comes in and he's like, bro, do you outside? And I was like, yeah, sure, let me just, get my juicer out my bag. So I get it out my bag, he gets his, I've got some food in my hand, I'm just eating it, standing up outside now, when we get out there. And yeah, I literally have it in my pocket while I'm eating, he's just standing next to me, we're talking, my one friend comes out as well after, he's just drinking, we're all just chilling at this point outside, everything's, everything's kosher, everything's good. So it's kind of got really dark at this point, and when we're outside just chilling, just eating, this other guy turns up. I was like, oh bro, you look cold. It's like, man, I've just rode an hour to get here from my nan's, it's freezing, man. And I was like, yeah man, I can flipping tell, bro. So he ends up going inside, he ends up, getting all these things ready and whatnot, and he comes back out and he's just drinking and he's just chilling with us now. And the guy who's just turned up, he's in for the worst nightmare ever. I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm telling you, everyone, and whatnot, so you can get a better understanding. So basically, we're all there now, and while I'm eating and I'm just finishing on my food, the guy basically asked me again, he's like, bro, do you want to, swap? And I'm like, man, yeah, I'll do the swap, there's nothing wrong with it though, is there? It's perfectly fine. And he was like, yeah man, it's perfectly fine. So everyone who was around, they even witnessed him say it was perfectly fine. So what happens next is, he ends up going after 15 minutes after we've gone inside. At this point we went inside, and he ends up going, he came up to all of us, he was like, oh, safe, he was like, safe Isaac, and then he basically said to me, any problems, give me a message, I mean, stay, my brother, don't you? I was like, yeah, I will do, man. So what happens next is, we go inside again, and this has been literally after 45 minutes, I'm sweating, I just want to go outside and cool off, and at this point I end up going round the back. So I'm round the back sitting on these rubbish bins, and I'm with the guy who turned up earlier who was cold, and I'm with my other friend and this other guy who was older. We're all just chilling together. Oh man, them were the days, I'm gonna have to get back into it, to be honest. So we was all just there, everything was cool, and I'm just using this, and I can start to see the cylinder part where the battery sits is getting a bit warm. So I'm just choosing to have another hit, and my friend who turned up earlier, it was cold, he was basically like, bro, let me have a go on this, and I was like, I will in a minute, it's pretty warm, and he's like, nah man, it's cool, and he kind of pulled it in my hand, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? And he was just like, I'm just having a quick go. So he has a few goes on it, he has like 4 or 5, he gives it me back, and he's like, bro, this needs some juice, and I was like, okay, so he gives me it back, and I'm like, bro, what have you done, this is so hot, and he's like, you've just saw me, I've had a few hits, and I was like, yeah man, I'm like, bro, you've got a few more goes, so I give it him, and he's like, oh, everyone watch this, I'm gonna have a huge drag, and I'm like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And he was like, oh, watch this, I'm gonna have a huge drag, and I was like, bro, watch, like, I don't want you to burn the coils, and he inhales, oh my god, like, he inhales, and he was like, whoa, and like, he lifts his head up, and literally, there was flames, no word of a lie. I'm like, bro, what the hell have you done? He basically, throws it on the floor, I'm like, what are you doing? So I pick it up, I unscrew the drip tip, like the top of it, I end up throwing that because that's what was on flames. I end up taking the battery out the cylinder, and like, oh my god, everyone was like, yo, no, oh my god, that's on fire, yo, and I was like, just chill out, like, it flamed, like, and I was like, nah, that's deadly, man, you've been done dirty. People were saying you've been done dirty, everyone who was there, like, nah, he's violated you, he's give you a dodgy mech, and I was like, so anyways, everyone at the skate park at this point knows what's just happened. So I ended up chucking, the atomizer, because I didn't want to take that, it was all full on, like, burned, the coils were all gone, the cotton was all gone. I know I could have kept it, but I just didn't feel safe to be honest. I should have chucked the battery as well, but I never did. I kept the cylinder bit and the battery. I left it cool though for a bit outside because I didn't want to put it straight in my bag, then it happened again. So yeah, I ended up going in, I ended up texting the guy, no reply, so I'm like, okay, So yeah, everyone's talking about this situation, like everyone's going crazy, like saying, "Oh, is it you've been done dirty? You've been done dirty." People are trying to message the guy, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have to message him when I get home." So yeah, on that night, around an hour later, I end up, getting a lift home. People were still talking about that though, because it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. When I get home, I receive a message from the guy. He's like, "Oh man, sorry. I was just helping my dad, in the garage." And I was like, "That's cool." But I was like, like the device you gave me earlier is set on fire. And he was like, "No way, bro. No, he never." And I was like, "Bro, it really did." That guy who turned up late and he was there. He set on fire in his mouth, and like he never had any, damage done or anything. It literally was just he had a drag and like a flame must have come, so he lifted his head fast, and yeah, like he never was harmed, nothing like that. He was perfectly good. He was just in shock, to be honest, really bad shock. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." And he's like, we'll do a swap back next time I'm at the skate park for sure, bro. He didn't come to the skate park in a while, to be honest. So a few months pass by, he ends up coming back to the skate park. He gives me my device back and a whole bunch of juices. Proper safe for that, my dude. Real safe for that, the guy was. And yeah, I just gave him the cylinder mod back. He said he got a new one anyway, and just left like mine once he heard that happened, because I did go back and forth from him a bit, talking and to his brother and that. He said he just left my device after a week and bought a new one, and he said when he came next he would, give it me back, which he did, and a whole bunch of juices as well. I think he gave me like 10 bottles, which, that's a really nice gesture on top, but it did set on fire, so yeah, that's probably the least he could do. And yeah, that's what he did. I don't think he meant to swap it because it was broke, because he would never have get my device back. Like, he knew me, he knew I knew his brother. And yeah, I, to be honest, didn't really know the guy up until that day a lot. I just knew who his brother was because his brother was my age. He was a little bit older at the time, and yeah, like, proper safe guy. And yeah, that was basically the story. So if you did enjoy, please don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, turn on all bell notifications, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Also, I do want to say thank you for all the support. Really does mean the world to me. Let's try and aim for 100 likes on this video for another story time tomorrow. And yeah, guys, stay safe now.